Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie Teason and I'm your Gel Moment Independent Distributor. Today I'm going to show you how to achieve this really easy nail art design with these little flowers on my accent nail here. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to do these little flowers with Gel Moment gel polish. So I am going to show you today on a nail stick. Now I have a nail stick here that has lovey-dovey on it. So this is just 2 coats of lovey-dovey. And I've got a couple of tools that I'm going to be using to be able to create the flowers on the nail. So I've got my ultra fine brush here that I'm going to be using to do the little lines inside the flower. And I have my dotting tool here with the large side and the small side. So this is one of the dotting tools from the Gel Moment Creativity set. And yeah, so there's a large side and a small side that we'll be using today. So I'm going to show you how to do it on the nail stick here. So like I said, there's 2 coats of lovey-dovey. I'm going to start by showing you guys how to do the green flower here on the side. So keep in mind the nail stick is larger than what your nail would be. So the flowers are going to be a little bit larger. You'll need to make them a little bit smaller to fit on your nails and your nail shape. So I'm going to start by using the larger end of the dotting tool. I'm going to dip it into my little container of Amalia and lovey-dovey. So I actually have, I'll show you here, this is a mix of lovey-dovey and Amalia. I have Evening Storm on this nail, and then I've got a base of lovey-dovey on this nail. So I'm going to start by doing the green, which is a mix of lovey-dovey and Amalia. So I'm going to start by just putting a dot here right in the center of the nail. Put it there. And I'm going to put another dot here just along the side. And I'm going to put another dot here just along the other side. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is clean off the larger end of my dotting tool, and I'm going to switch over to the smaller end of my dotting tool. I'm going to grab a little bit more of our green here, and I'm just going to start filling in this middle section here with the green. Kind of looks like a bit of a paw print right now. So I'm going to start by taking the sides and just curving them in, making a bit of a rounded shape on the side. We'll do that again on this side here and fill it in. And then we're going to start by doing that on the top circles here. So we'll start by doing this one here on the side, and we'll just bring it in, curve it in, and we'll do that here on this side. Just bring it in, curve it in, like that. Curve it in. There you go. So you can see you've got a little kind of flower look there now. So what you can do is, if you need to adjust the edges on your flower, is you can just make them a little bit bigger, make it a little bit more of a circle. If you need to make the points a little bit more pointed, you can actually take, I love using, I'll just clean this off. I love using the wooden cuticle pushers to help clean up my designs. So you can easily just wipe off your end, keep it nice and clean, and then you can clean up the edges and make it more of the flower kind of look that you want using just the wooden cuticle pusher. This isn't a Gel Moment wooden cuticle pusher. I just buy these off of Amazon. Or you can use a toothpick. I like those too. I find it a little bit easier to just clean up those edges and make them look a little bit nicer if you need to with the wooden cuticle pusher. But I think that looks good. I'm happy with that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and flash cure that. So I'm going to pop it underneath the lamp for about 10 seconds. It's going to just solidify the polish just enough that if I need to wipe off any of the designs that I'm doing next, it's not going to wipe off that part of the flower that I'm happy with. So I do it for about 10 seconds. And I'm blocking the light from my polishes that I have on my silicone mat here, just so that they don't start to cure, especially with my Amalia lovey-dovey mix that I have in a clear container and not in like a solid polish bottle. So I'm just wanting to make sure that I don't cure those by accident. So did a little bit more than 10 seconds there, but so there we have it. It's not fully cured, but it is cured enough that it's not going to smudge off of the nail when I wipe it if I accidentally make a mistake. So now I'm going to do our gray flower. So I'm going to take my larger dotting tool again, and I'm going to be using Evening Storm. So I got a little bit on my nail, or on my dotting tool there. So I'm going to start by doing the one down here closest to the bottom in the corner. So I'm going to do again, I'm going to do a dot right in the center where the corner of the nail is. Do one there, and I'm going to do one over here. And I'm going to do one, get a little bit more polish. Do one on this side here. So I'm doing one flower at a time, just so that I can work on keeping it nice and even. I don't have to go back and forth and accidentally smudge the flowers. So again, I got a little bit more on my dotting tool. I'm just going to mix it in. It's a bit of a bigger space, so I'm going to need a bit more to fill this in. So we're going to make the rounded edges on the flower and bring it down into the corner. Same with this side. Just fill that in. And with the evening storm, it's a bit of a lighter color, so you may need to do, it's a lighter, darker color, I guess I should say. You may need to do a second coat just to get a bit of a darker look if you want. So I'm just making this round here on the side. I might actually add another petal there on that side. Make this rounder. Bring this down. Going to make this flower, this petal here, a bit larger. Just working that down into the edge, into the corner there. That one there, a bit bigger. Work that up there. There we go. So there's a little dot of polish there from when I took the dotting tool off when I put that little dot there. So I'm just going to clean that up with the cuticle pusher. And now I'm going to go ahead and flash cure this one. I'm just going to even this out just a little bit. The polish is self-leveling, so it will just kind of fill itself in, and I'm going to be doing a second coat over it, so it's okay. I'm just going to just even it up a little bit. So we'll go ahead and flash cure that one. So again, about 10 seconds, and then we'll do the last flower. And there we go. Okay, so last flower, we're going to take again a dot of our evening storm on our dotting tool, and we'll do it up here in the corner. So again, I'm going to make it even with the corner of the nail here. Grab a bit more. Do one down here. We'll do a petal down on this side. Just wipe that off. And then I'm going to, might need to put a bit more evening storm down there. We'll see how it goes. So rounding off the petals. There we go. And again, rounding off the petals on this side. I'm going to need a bit more evening storm here. So when you're putting your polishes down on your mat, it's better to go back and get more than it is to have too much and have to waste it. So just put a little dot down. You don't need too much. We don't want to waste our polishes. So nice little dot there. I'll grab a bit more and we'll fill in the rest of the flower here. So the polishes are self-leveling. So if you kind of let them sit, they will sort of run in to the most even area. There we go. Make this one a bit more round. So you could make your flowers with 3 petals, or you could make them with 4 petals, depends on the size of your nail and kind of what the look of the flower is that you're going for. So I'm going to do a full cure now on those petals so that they are completely cured on the nail. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the, you can kind of see in this one here, you can kind of see the little white details inside that kind of makes the petal look not 3D, but it just gives it a bit more definition on the petal. So what we're going to do is we're going to put down a first coat of Evening Storm, and then we're going to take Lovey Dovey and we're just going to mix it in there to give a little bit of depth, I guess you could say, for the petal. Makes it look a little bit more realistic. So there we go, nice and cured. So we're going to start with the green. So I'm going to take my small dotting tool and take the green, and we're just going to put a really small amount. We don't want it to be too much, so I'm not using very much. Just wanting to cover the whole petal. There we go. So now that we've covered the whole flower, we're going to take our small dotting tool again, and we're going to just very gently tap it into the white. We don't want very much, so I'm actually even going to dab a little bit off, and we're just going to start in the petal, and we're just going to pull it towards the center. And do that again in this one. Go back, and I'll just take a little bit of this white that I put in there, and I'm just going to pull it towards the center and pull it towards the center. And so as you work with it, it sort of leaves like a little trail, makes it look a little bit almost marbled in a way. Just add that in there so you can see how that changes the look there of that flower. So I'm going to flash cure that one. And it's okay if there's little dents in it. The Clearly Frisky that we're going to put over top is going to seal in any of those kind of divots and make it look nice and smooth. So we're just going to flash cure this, and then we'll move on to the Evening Storm. So I can clean off my dotting tool, grab a bit of Evening Storm, and I'm just putting it again over the flower. Just in those areas that we've already got Evening Storm. Now if you wanted to use different colors, you totally could. Use lighter colors or brighter colors, different combination. Whatever you'd like for your manicure. There we go. So again, oops, I'm going to grab a bit of white, and we're just going to dab off a bit of it. We'll start in the center one and we'll just pull it through. And you can see it kind of like blends itself almost. So if you want it to be less white, then just kind of run it through a little bit with your dotting tool, just kind of brush it. It'll look less white, more kind of like a gray in there. So I'm going to cure that for 10 seconds just to flash cure it, and then we'll move on to the last one. There we go. All right, so we'll grab a bit more Evening Storm again, put it in the flower, a bit more here, grab a bit more of it and add it to the flower, and just add it in there and make it look nice and completely covered. And we're almost done. We just got to add a few little petals. And then we'll wipe that off and we'll grab the white. Again, we're going to dab it off a little bit. We'll start in the center one and we'll pull down into the middle. And then grab just a tad more to do the last one. bit of a bigger flower, so we'll just work it in there a little bit. There we go. Okay, we'll cure that. We'll give that a full cure. We'll wipe off these dots here. So now I'm going to be using Raven's Kiss, which is our black, and I'm going to use our ultra fine brush. You can also use you can use this one, our wooden cuticle pusher, or not our wooden cuticle pusher, just a regular wooden cuticle pusher, or you can use something that has a fine tip on it, like even a sewing needle could work, or a toothpick that has a really fine point. So if you don't have the creativity set, although I highly recommend it because it is amazing for doing nail art, you can use anything really with a fine point to help you do these really fine lines in the center of the nail. So you can see here we've got the Raven's Kiss in the center, so we've got a little dot, and then we've got our tiny little lines that go throughout the flower. So that's what we're doing next. So I'm going to start by taking the small end of our dotting tool, and I'm going to add that little dot into the center of the flower. Doesn't need to be perfect, just a nice little dot. Wipe off, and we're going to do one at a time. So I've got a tiny little bit of, you can see over the lamp, tiny little bit of Raven's Kiss on there. And again, we don't want too much, so I'm going to wipe off just a little bit. And we're going to go and we're going to start on either one of the sides. And we'll just go down into the center and then turn. And you can make it go all the way down into the center of the flower. I'm going to do that last so that it doesn't bleed too much. There we go. Just going to clean up this one spot here with my wooden cuticle pusher. There we go, and I'm just going to make my line. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and cure that. We'll do a flash cure on that just for about 10 seconds. And I'm moving my brush away from the lamp because I don't want that to cure on the tip of my brush. It's a very small amount of polish, but we don't want that to cure on there because it will wreck your brush. So there we go. We've got our little stems in there. I'm going to do that on the other ones as well. So because this is such a dark gray, it's a little bit harder to see the black, but that's okay. So if you wanted to use something lighter in the gray family like London Dreams, you could do that too. I'm just going to do both of these ones here. So just a little bit on the brush again, wipe it off. And I'm going to turn my nail stick around. So then we're starting here on the side. Bring it down into the little center. You can add as many of these as you want. Just do a couple. There we go. And then we'll switch on to this one here. We'll grab a tiny little bit more on our brush. Oh, need it to be this way. And we'll start on the center, on the side, and we'll pull it down into the center. Again here. Keep pulling it into the center there. There we go. All right, so I'll do a quick cure on that, and I'm going to wipe off my brush that I'm using. So I'm just using a cleanser pad, just alcohol and to wipe it off. You don't want to use a remover pad to clean off the polish because that will potentially damage your bristles on your brush, and we don't want that to happen. So we'll clean that off and we're all done with that. And now our last step is to use our Clearly Frisky, and that is just to seal it all in. So it's going to be a little bit rigid and bumpy on the top of the nail, and so to seal it all in, make it all nice and smooth, you want to use Clearly Frisky. Because you're also not capping with any of the steps of your nail art, Clearly Frisky is going to seal in everything and cap the nail completely, and that way you'll have a nice long-lasting manicure. So I'm going to go ahead and seal it in. So I'm using a nail stick, so it's a lot larger than your nail, so you'd want to use less of the Clearly Frisky that I'm using right now. Want to use nice thin coats of the polish, but because it's a large nail stick, it takes a little bit more. And then remember to cap. So we're going over the nail, capping it, or if you have shorter nails, go over the edge of the nail like that, just kind of brushing it over, and then go over the nail one more time, just to seal everything in. Pop that in there, put that under the lamp, and we'll close our bottle of Clearly Frisky. I'm also going to close up my little container here of my Amalia and Lovey Dovey, and I'm going to put it back away from the light. So I keep it in one of my beauty cases. That way I can keep the lid closed and I don't have to worry about the light from my ceiling fan or any LED light, or even if I have the window open, I don't have to worry about it curing my, my container of my mixed color. So there you go. It's really, really simple to do, easy to mix our polishes and create your own colors with Lovey Dovey and Amalia. It's also really easy to do some nice simple nail art, and yeah, you can have a really beautiful manicure really quickly. So there we go. You can see how easy that was, how nicely it turned out, and I hope to see this on maybe one of your next manicures soon. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know.